Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Hey, buddy, I am here. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I mean, here we sit, for another week of Drewling Samantics from our respective homes. Here we are.
Yes.
Go on.
I think I may have deduced what you were doing there.
Oh no, you have a clue about what I was saying.
Yeah. Drew, what's on this week?
Oh, well, I don't know. We have been pointing the magnifying glass and hovering over a few bits of evidence.
Yes. I mean, that's probably all I can do, mate. To be honest,
Probably all I can do as well, mate. Yeah, I have to say,
what's on. Yeah,
that was brilliant. The what's on. I mean, should we just catch people up a little bit because it's...
For anyone that hasn't worked it out,
they probably haven't.
It's Thursday, the 22nd of May, which is rather significant in the UK because it is, Drew,
Sherlock Holmes Day. There you go.
Yes.
So there are clues, magnifying glasses, and now you know. I have to say, the what's on was absolutely brilliant. I was so impressed. I was almost left speechless. That was brilliant, which is unusual for me.
Not often that I leave you speechless. That's
It's very true. It's very true. So there we go.
But yeah, so that is that mystery solved. What exactly we were playing at, but here we are nonetheless. So
yeah, and I'm going to solve another mystery now because, of course, it might be you and I sitting here talking a load of rubbish. But to make things better, to brighten our day and bring the podcast up to speed, we have a guest.
Indeed, yes.
To join us, and I'm going to take away any form of mystery on that because he has just joined us in the waiting room now, waiting for us to introduce. So, ladies and gentlemen, enough of our nonsense. Let's meet a supremely talented young guy. Sam has had the pleasure of working with him. We have now got the pleasure of chatting with, as I say, fantastic performer and creative. We have introduced you, Mr. Fredrick Branders.
And good morning, welcome, guten Morgen, and I don't know Welsh for good morning. Fredrick Branders is with us, or better known as Freddie. How are you, mate? Long time no see.
Great, yes. It was amazing to see you again. It's been years.
Forever. Well, it feels like forever, doesn't
and
it?
thank you for having me on. Yes.
Yeah. It's our pleasure to have you. Freddie meet Drew, Drew meet Freddie.
Hi, Freddie.
Drew, everyone knows who Drew is. Drew is the one that sits here and makes me look younger and better looking, which is why he's here. Sorry, I've gone early doors with the insult.
Haven't you? Freddie, I mean, I don't know. You probably listened to a couple of our episodes. This is usually how it goes. I sit here, with wit and intelligence, and Sam just, beats me up. But Freddie, it's delightful to have you with us. A fresh, kind, young, very talented performer. Now we'll have to explain, excuse me, the little bit of German that Sam threw in there. You have German heritage, don't you? In fact, because we briefly met, tell us a little bit about yourself and that little bit of German heritage that you have in your background.
Sure, yeah. So I'm half Welsh, half German. So my dad is Welsh, my mum is German, and I lived in Germany for 20 years. Was born there, moved to Wales for a bit in between, moved back. Now I'm back here in London. Well, not back. Now I'm here in London.
Now you're here, brilliant. So and I understand you did some training out in Germany as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So I decided when I was 20 years old that I was going to go to opera school.
As you do.
As you do, yeah. Well, I wanted to do classical singing. The only option at the conservatoire I was at was with opera, and then I did that, and then I discovered within the first few weeks that actually my favorite part about it is the acting classes. So
Quite
I
a
sort of
quite an
swerved off.
obscure route to go to acting, to become an opera singer. I guess not necessarily the normal route, but whatever works, I guess.
Yes, yeah. Well, I've met a surprising amount of people who've gone that route since. So, um, but yeah, so it's opera is you have to love it. It's great. I envy opera singers. That it's an incredible skill. It takes a lot of years to train for it. It's not for me. Um, but I still love being on stage. I do still love singing every now and again. And so that's how I sort of swerved off from opera into musical theatre. And then I haven't really done much musical theatre in the last 3 years either. So I've sort of gone more into acting.
But I mean, I think you're playing down what you have done and what you are more than capable of. Because number one, opera may not be for you, but having shared a musical theatre stage with you, you have a stunning voice. So obviously the training was not wasted, even if it became something that led you into a different pathway. And you say you haven't done a huge amount of musical theatre. What you really mean is you haven't done a lot of musical theatre outside of the musical theatre that you've written and created yourself. That kind of is quite a large part of it. So yeah, talk to us about producing, creating, writing, making your own work, essentially.
Yeah. So I was when I lived in Germany, I started doing some musical theatre while I was still studying opera. And I worked with some great amateur and like semi-professional companies. And that's sort of where I first got into both being on stage and helping organize beyond that. And I had a very good friend of mine, and she was in a similar position, and she'd moved to North Germany, and she'd started her own musical theatre company. And she invited me and a bunch of other people up to go help her perform. It was Peter Pan, Stars and Drew's Peter Pan,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
which is a very lovely musical. And I was supposed to cover for Peter and one of the other kids, something like that. I didn't have to, luckily. But it was, yeah, I was on the start and the end as on the ensemble, and I helped sort of organize some of the stuff behind the stage. And yeah, sort of from those experiences, I decided, okay, oh yeah, and she then wrote her own musical, which we performed there, which was really fun, really great. And I then decided, you know what, I'm going to do that too. So I moved to Scotland because I wanted to study some musical theatre in the UK, because that's what I was interested in, was doing UK musical theatre, because there's a lot bigger industry and there's a lot more going on, and there's a different style of acting and so on and so on. And I was in Scotland, and then I decided, okay, you know what, I want to write my own show.
Again, as you do, just, well, I'll do that.
Well, I knew a few people who had done it, and I worked with several friends who'd done it. I was like, if they can do it, how hard can it be?
So I've got to ask them, Freddie. I mean, when you say write your own show, you compose as well. I mean, I say compose. You write the music, lyrics, book, or the whole thing.
With my first one, I wrote the whole thing.
Show off, but brilliant. That is brilliant.
Yeah. So I had been applying to master's courses in musical theatre throughout the country, and for one of them, for the one at Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, they want you to bring something you made yourself. And I was like, oh, no problem. I'll just bring a song from my show. Problem was, it was the night before, and I hadn't actually started writing anything in my show yet.
Yes.
That's how I wrote the first song for my musical.
I mean, that is proper gun against your head moment, isn't it? If I don't do this now, maybe that's how a lot of writers should get by organising something that they absolutely have to stick to, and then you have no choice but to write or create. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So I absolutely miscalculated how long it would take me to write. I'm not a good writer. It takes me ages to write dialogue, and then it's mediocre at best. Hence, I've not written any dialogue since for anything. But the music was more fun, but also the music and the lyrics. It was a good challenge. But I think I kind of also learned out of that too, that it could make sense to focus on one or two aspects and not try to do everything and produce it. And because I then moved back to Germany because I was stuck alone in my room in Glasgow. And so I thought, well, I'll go back to Germany. I'll go back to university and just see what happens, and until I know what I'm doing. And then I wrote the show. I decided, okay, I'm going to go to the Edinburgh Fringe with that. And yeah, so I got some help from friends to finish the show on time. I got a venue at the Fringe. The venue cancelled a few weeks beforehand because I decided they're going to do it all online. It was 2021 Fringe.
Yes.
So we ended up doing the Edinburgh Fringe show in London instead, which is great. Sounds great until you realise that everyone who wants to see your Edinburgh Fringe show is in Edinburgh, not in London.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, they tend to do that. So our audience was mostly online, which was fine. We had a fun time. There was 5 or 6 of us. We had an Airbnb, and then we transitioned to the airport hotel, which was quite cheap at the time because no one was flying.
Very true. Yes.
Lots of rooms. Yes.
And it was a great experience. No regrets. But also when we went to the second one the next year, I knew what I was up for.
And
that was Alex. Alex was great fun. We got a grant from the Edinburgh Fringe to help make it, and it was I had no idea what I was doing, so I'm still in debt for it to this day.
But you have the wealth of experience now, and the enjoyment of what you did. So obviously, starting out with the first musical, doing everything, did that kind of say to you, right, here's what I want to narrow down to from a musical theatre production side of you? I just want to write the music, or I just want to create the libretto, or was it a case of, this is the bit that I need to have more influence over because this is another passion project or another thing I'm creating? Where was the divide for you in that respect?
I think I learned that there's 3 things I love doing. One of them was the production administrative side, dealing with calling all the venues, dealing with the money, dealing with I just needed to figure out a bit how to do them. And then that was, I quite loved doing that. Then composing. I loved writing the music. I still love composing every now and again. I rarely find the time for it, but it's something I love doing. And then it's performing. And so you kind of see the person in the background, the girl in the mirror. That was sort of a reiteration of Tatiana's, my friend's project that she started in Germany. She also moved to London, so that's sort of how we were continuing working together. And she wrote the book and the lyrics, and thank God she did, because then I could just focus on writing the music. It still took me all year to write the music, and we were in rehearsals, and not all the music was written yet. But it's to this day that's sort of my favorite composition, and it bugs me that it's not being performed anymore, because it was a good run. We performed at the Chichester Fringe and at the Wandsworth Fringe for that.
Oh, fantastic.
2022, and it was great fun.
So this love of or this ability to sit there, and I mean the administrative side, the production side, I mean most people, unless they have a real skill at it or a real love for it, just loathe sitting there on the phones and getting stuff done. I know I do. I produce stuff with my wife, and she's brilliant at the admin. She hates it, but she's really good at it, and I hate it, and I'm really bad at it. That's taken you on to producing in other areas of the entertainment business, has it? Because I mean, it doesn't. I mean, apart from traveling, your feet don't stand still when it comes to doing different things. So you're now moving on to film production, I understand, as well as having a skill for editing and writing film and that. So you're moving into film production now. So is that, are you using those administrative skills, or is it the creative skills? Where's that taking you? Where does Freddie lie with the film production side?
So yeah, well, very early days with that. I started getting into that last year. I was working for a film festival, Liftoff they're called. They're based in London.
Yeah.
They took several people down to Cannes to the film festival because they're like, you have to be there. It's where everything happens. And yeah, so we went, and I went with a friend, and we decided, hey, let's bring some scripts that we have from people and see if we can get someone interested. And she did find someone who was interested, and so we said, okay, let's follow up on this. Let's see what we can get doing with the experiences that we have from other things. And that's still very much where I am. I've got scripts, we've got things in development, we've got some people involved, but it's very little creative involvement. Like, we can steer it to the point of we get a say in who we want to have in the productions.
Sure.
But at this point, it's very much trying to get way more experienced people on board who know what they're doing. So it's less obvious that we don't know what we're doing.
Well, but I think that's it, isn't it? I mean, you can't move. Sometimes you can't move forward with projects because you go, okay, I do this really well, but that's where my skill. The skill comes in finding. I think that sometimes, when you're producing stuff, the skill comes in finding someone who can do it better than you. And that's your job. I mean, a director will go, I can direct a play, but I don't know how to raise the money. A writer will go, I can write a play or write a production, film, whatever. I've got the script. There it is. What do I do with it? And that's when all the different, and I think a really good, whatever hat you're wearing, is when you go, I can't do that. I need someone who can. So I think that's the brilliance when people go, yeah, they're a great producer, they're a great director, great writer. Occasionally you find these auteurs that can do everything and they're just sickening. But I mean, if you turn out to be someone who can do that, Freddie, I'll take my hat off, because it's extraordinary. You've just got back from Cannes this year, haven't you? I mean, for those of us that I haven't been, probably should go, want to go, whatever. Is it just, we see the red carpet, we see the big films. For people like yourself that have a bunch of scripts and going, right, I need to get, what is that like? What are you literally banging on doors, bumping into people? How do you create those moments of, hey, I've got a script, or hey, I've got an idea?
There's something that happens when you go to Cannes, which is a bit like dark magic. No one really knows how it works. But essentially, you have the top people from the industry worldwide coming together for a week-long beach holiday, and things get done at speeds that is not possible in any other setting. And I've not been to a red carpet in Cannes. I've seen the red carpet. I've been annoyed at people crowding around the red carpet, so I can't get where I want to go because I want to see Tom Hanks walk the red carpet. But no, it's all great fun. So there's two bits to it. There's the festival with all the great premieres and the stars and the parties, and then there's the film market, the marché de film, which is the business.
Yeah,
it's where people go to sell their films to distributors. It's where production companies meet to sign co-production agreements. Or you can meet anyone really. You can meet agents, lawyers, we met our accountant there 10 p.m. on Thursday night for drinks, and we talked about accounting because that was the only time we had available.
Wow. Do things? Is it? Are people like, it's like the Edinburgh Festival? People, you're at the Edinburgh Festival. Everybody's open to ideas, and do people become more approachable at Cannes? Can do doors open a little bit easier because everybody's there to have a good time and to enjoy film? Does it make things easier, or is it just so many people and it's a bit of luck? Well, it's all luck, but
It makes things easier, but there's also still a lot of gatekeeping involved.
Sure.
So if you went there and you wanted to meet, you say you have a film, you want to film it in Brazil, and you want to meet a co-production partner from Brazil, that's fairly easy. Brazil is an up-and-coming market. They want to get people to come to Brazil and film. They've got the money, they've got the infrastructure set up. They just say, okay, come to us, we'll help you out. We'll connect you with whoever. And so they'll have a big tent somewhere or a big stand in the market, and you can go there and you can meet the producers. You can get talking. That's how we got started with the South African project, because they have the same thing. They're like, our government is giving us money to make films. Come make films with us.
Yeah.
That's great. If you want to meet a British or an American or a Canadian or a New Zealand producer, they're not in the market, because they know if they put a stand in the market, they're going to have 100 people waiting to speak to them every moment of the day. So they will be outside of the market. They will rent out a hotel apartment or suite, usually put their big banner outside on the balcony so that you know that they're there. And then you need appointments. And that's the tricky bit to get in, because that's still very gatekeepy. This time we were quite lucky. We got through some connections. We got in 1 or 2 of them. But for us, at least at this stage, it's for the prep, send out 50, 100 emails to different people saying, hey, let's meet, let's talk about this, this, and this. And then if you get 3 meetings out of that, you've had a good haul.
You've had a good one.
It's almost a little bit like the performance side in you apply for however many auditions, and maybe out of the 100 that you apply for on a certain Tuesday in June, you might get 3 back that say, yes, we've looked at your CV, or we've looked at your self-tape, or we've looked at your previous work. We'd like to meet you in person. Quite a similar thing. So do you feel you were more prepared for that, having the performance background and sort of audition side of things?
I think I was more prepared for the disappointment of being declined.
Rejection.
You don't get a lot of no's, but it's still, a no always sort of is a disappointment, especially if it's someone you're keen on getting in touch with. And some people just, sometimes it's just not possible to get in touch with some people without personal connections. But otherwise, it's a lot easier, because all you have to do is send out an email. And while with a lot of acting stuff, you're going to have to send out a self-tape, and then you're going to have to send out this and that, or do this. While with this, all you have to do is say, here's my project. Here's the stuff. This is the pitch deck I created once, and I can send it to everyone now. And this is the if they ask for it, the script. So it's similar, but it's also not similar. In production, you have a lot more control over what you do, and it's all about finding people who believe that you can, finding people who believe in you. Because that's all the industry is about.
Yeah.
Trying to find people who believe in you and who will trust you to get this thing done. With acting, I think it's more, if you advertise a role, a decently paid role in a nice theatre in London, you're going to get 1,000 applications, and 600 of those people are going to be able to do a good job, and are going to be able to be just fine. And that's I think the difference.
I mean, it's very often when a producer, a writer, or whoever walks in the room and is pitching an idea, you see people go, "I believe in you." The product is almost secondary, isn't it? It's like you say, can you make this happen? Do I like you? Can I work with you? We can, whatever you're pitching, we can work with that. We can change that, mold it, whatever. But it's you very often hear, this guy, these people are investable. Yeah, I'll invest in them. I remember a friend of mine went to Cannes, and he had a 6-line idea of a film, it did get made, and he made money out of it. So, you know, a miracle. But he made himself investable. He said, I played the part of a producer, writer. He said, I literally acted my way through Cannes. He said, and it was on that. He said, when we got back, and he said, I met a producer from England, and they got talking. The guy went, you're very different from when you were in Cannes. He said, well, yeah, now you're interested. Now I can push the product. Now I'm the writer, you know. And it was, the guy said, you're very believable. You know, if you can do what you did in Cannes with this, we're great, you know. And they did. But he said, I had to be, and he was scared. He said, he landed, you know, in France. He said, I put my foot in Cannes. He said, I was scared from the moment I was there until the moment I left. He said, A, would someone find me out? And B, you know, I haven't got any money left, you know. And so, but he said it was just him that they were interested in after a while, which is brilliant, you know. But the chutzpah is extraordinary.
All aspects of life, you invest in people, not in products.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing really with actors. There's a million good film ideas. Yeah, that would all make money. But there's not a million good production teams that will make you make money.
Yeah, it's a big game of selling, whatever sort of aspect you happen to be in. But right, so I'm going to sort of move things backwards slightly, maybe, because obviously we're talking about Cannes, where yes, it's in France, but the generic language is English because it's very Americanized and etc. etc. Now, you grew up in Germany. You also have Welsh heritage. You did some training in Scotland. But you also did opera, and opera tends to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, in Italian. So how do you navigate all the... Or are you going to tell me I'm wrong now, that opera doesn't tend to be in Italian? Go on, but feel free to correct me. But how do you navigate all these different languages? Because obviously your training must have been in German when you were in Germany, but then coming over to the UK. So, and is there some Welsh in there as well? Like, impress us with your vocabulary and your different dialects, Freddie. Talk to us. What have we got?
So opera has to be in Italian to get to that first. Depends on who you ask. If you're a very Puritan opera person, then you'll say, yes, opera can only be in Italian, and opera died in 1850. But classical music is full of these fun people. I once knew someone who said any music composed after the year 1600 is not good. So whatever. Anyway, so to get back to the languages. I did have to learn some Italian at the Conservatoire as part of my training. I had to learn modern day Italian and sort of 18th century Italian, which is minimal differences in pronunciations and I remember none of it. Buongiorno. That's
it.
Italian.
That's all you need.
But so the important thing is to learn how to pronounce things. So to see, okay, I've got this text here. If I can get it 98% right, then I can go to an Italian friend and say, is this the way you pronounce these things? And that's good. And I did my last audition for something like that about 2 years ago. I haven't looked back. But yeah, that's a handy skill to have, because in opera school, the languages you tend to cross are Italian, French, German, English, and some people also Russian. I never did anything in Russian because there's a lot of Russian composers. And then occasionally there's some like Hungarian or whatever. But opera is composed everywhere, in all languages. And so that's sort of, but the only things I had was French from school and German and English, really. And then I'd learned a few words of Welsh in primary school, but that doesn't really count as a language I know. But I've always liked languages. I've taken probably about 6 weeks each of a vast array of languages throughout. Either it was like an opportunity at school, like I when I was in 5th year, I learned Japanese for half a year, and I still remember 3 words from it. But that's sort of, and I think that sort of helps in these things.
Is this all part of of what makes you, this desire to learn and wanting to sort of broaden your skill set. Is this why you think you started to learn opera, or you trained in opera, and then went, do you know what, actually I've done some bits of acting here, but I'd like to take that further, and then the composing side, and then the languages, and now into production? Yes, you produce. Is this all just part of what makes you, that you constantly see, here's another skill that there are elements of it I find entertaining, I want to just pursue that and see what I can do with it? Is that kind of what makes you?
I think so. It took me a long time to grapple with the fact that I couldn't just be really good at one thing instead of doing lots of things a little bit. Because whatever you do, there's always people there that are really, really good at what they do, and they like live what they do and breathe it. And I was like, wow, I wish I could do that. But it's only like in recent years that I've come to realize, like, actually it's a skill set to be able to be adaptive, and especially in the entertainment industry, if you can be adaptive and just go with the opportunities that come up and say, okay, yeah, I was training for musical theatre for 7 years, or I wasn't training for that long. Yeah, I was training for musical theatre for 3 or 4 years. But solve this, I'm gonna drop it all and go into film because that's where I'm getting roles at the moment. And it takes a certain flexibility to do that, I think, and it's not for everyone. But
That's interesting, because Freddie, Sam and I were talking last week about people who dedicate their lives to one discipline and become, as you say, incredibly good. And you go, I wish I could do that. But it's nice to hear that you praise the ability to be, adaptive. Because I mean, Sam and I often talk about, triple threats, quadruple threats, and the fact that we like waking up one morning going, oh, I did a voiceover yesterday, tomorrow I'm filming, the next week I'm going to be in the theatre. That is exciting, and to not have to stick to one discipline, I think that I'm glad you said that does require a skill as well. It requires a mental agility, but that is to be praised as much. And I think some people feel, oh no, they're just playing at it, or they're a dilettante or whatever. I agree with you. No, if you can do it and do it well, and that ability to be adaptive, it makes, I think it's more fulfilling personally, but I think it's also, you're a gift to other people, because people look and go, oh yeah, Freddie, yeah, but he's, he sang, he acts, he does, all that stuff. Get him. He's got loads of skills. I think you become attractive. One becomes attractive to producers, writers, directors, and creatives. But I love the fact you said being adaptive is a skill, because I think that's often forgotten. But where is that going to take you next then? Oh, you got the film. Is there after film? Is there something else? Is there, like, we're going to see, Freddie Branders with some amazing, multimedia production, or is it just, no, I'll film and make a lot of money? Is it
retired age 35 on an island in the Caribbean somewhere?
Boom, the man said it.
I could not do that. If I don't keep myself busy, I go mad, and I keep myself busy doing silly things.
I don't think your energy would let you stand still at all. I don't get that feeling.
No. So yeah. So I have, we currently have, a colleague and I, between us, we have 4 feature films that we want to make within the next few years. And if we manage to make that will be, first of all, I will be dead, inside and out, and I will need the 60s probably in the Caribbean. But yeah, that would be, that would change our lives and our careers and everything, and that's the goal. Right. We all know that that's never how things work out, because you get, give me 2 weeks and someone comes along and says, by the way, have you ever been on the West End or something? And they're like, well, no, but I.
Until
I'm doing this, but I could maybe do that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the opportunities crisscross, and you have to often juggle a lot of eyes at the same time to sort of hope that one of them sort of takes off the right time, then you can grab hold of it.
If you've got fingers in a lot of pies, one of them is bound to go a route which just keeps progressing, and certainly that seems to be, your method of working, but in a way that perhaps not a lot of people do. You take each of those things to a level of high quality, rather than just going, I'm going to do a little bit of everything and be okay at them. You do a little bit of everything, but you do each of those little bits of everything very, very well. I mean, just for example, and what we'll do, we'll play a little bit at the end of the podcast. But you were on, am I right in thinking you were on the radio recently because one of your pieces you composed was being picked up and played?
Yes, so I work with a choir in South East London, actually leaving them very soon, which is sad. But it's a German church choir, so there's a German church in South East London. They have a choir, and I've been conducting them for the last 4 years, which has been very nice and very fun. And they have this big anniversary coming up, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give back a bit. I'm gonna compose them some music because I like them and I like working with them. And then it's just going to be a small concert within the congregation, and then I'll be happy and everyone else is happy. No one need ever hear about it. Anyway, but then things sort of came together and stacked onto each other, and then the next thing I know is I get a message from our pastor, who had been asked to do something for the BBC, and she was like, we want to have your music in the radio church service that we're doing. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. we can do that, sure, yeah. And it turns out it was actually really easy. All they did was they sent over a sound technician with 2 mics to one of the rehearsals, and then we recorded it. And me with my tiny 10-person choir. And then that got broadcast on BBC Radio 4 Sunday Worship with Tom Hanks, who was on the same programme speaking a poem.
Just drop that one in. Just drop that in there, Freddie. Oh, we sang to do this with Tom Hanks. That was. I love the little boom name drop there. Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Unbelievable. So, and what more could you possibly want going from Radio 4 to the greatest podcast in the world, Drewling Samantics? You've literally peaked, but that won't hold you back at all, because you'll find something else to then go and pursue. But Freddie, it's been absolutely joyful chatting to you. It's so lovely to catch up. I mean, there was so much we haven't managed to get to. The fact that we worked together, the Truth Stops Here musical, the fact that weirdly it's almost 2 years to the day we're recording now since we last had on someone from the Truth Stops Here, the brilliant Tom Levermore, who played alongside you as a couple of the enforcers in that show. Equally, we haven't talked about things like your Welsh background and the training over there and the things you did over there, and there's so much other stuff. Will you agree to come back on in the future? Let's give you a chance to do more stuff with these potential upcoming film projects. Will you come back on in the future, talk to us some more, tell us what you've got going on, and we can deep dive back into some of the other history of Freddie Brandes and talk about some other stuff as well? Does that sound okay?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, Sam, thank you so much for having me on, and Drew. It's brilliant, man. It's been a pleasure to see you guys again, and yeah.
Oh, no, pleasure is all ours, mate. It's been wonderful. But we're also well aware that you're currently in the process of moving, so we're not going to keep you any longer. And this is setting the standard for any future Drewling Samantics guests. If you want to commit to us, this is the way to do it. Have half your flat packed up in a box, but still find time to come on and chat to us. Freddie, it's been brilliant, mate. It's lovely to see you as always, and we will catch up again soon, and we'll definitely get you back on the show in the near future when Tom Hanks is acting in one of your features, because you've been on the radio with him, you've seen him on the red carpet. Next step up, it can only be one thing.
we can record when you're on your island. Yeah, we're not fussy. You know, if you're on the island, kick back with something, you know, and we'll record you there. You know, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll see if we can fit it into the schedule.
Yeah.
And on that note, Freddie, thank you so much, mate. Take care of yourself. We'll speak to you soon.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye, mate. I mean, he's left very quickly because I don't think that young man's feet ever touched the ground. I mean, hopping between different countries, different languages, different projects. I mean, how fascinating was that?
Yeah, incredible. Absolute joy to work with, a joy to chat to there. Just and frustratingly talented because he's
I
so
know.
bloody good at stuff like saying, "Oh well, I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that." He doesn't do little bits. He does everything bloody big and well, and then just adds something else to his repertoire. So yeah, a brilliant bloke, really, really fabulous guy. So.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is to have things coming up that, I mean, he obviously couldn't talk about them because obviously in production, etc. But to have things coming up in different areas as well, and go, well, I might do this, but I might do a bit of that. I've been absolutely wonderful. What a lovely, and I mean, and in the middle, as you said, in the middle of packing up and moving house, he finds time to sit down and have a chat with us two bloody silly buggers.
I think that just goes to show how valuable we are to the industry, mate. That people want to talk to us and want to spend time with us. And I'm not sure I've said that amount of shit in a long time. No, but
mate. I mean, we managed to find time to talk to each other. So, I mean, is it surprising that other people want to join in? Yes, it is.
Still is. Yes, 100%. It will never make sense to me why people would possibly want to chat to us. But I'm not going to give you a choice next week, mate. You are going to have to chat to me, I'm afraid, because there's not going to be anyone else here. It'd just be
it's just you and me again, isn't it, me old mate? Oh well, never mind. Yeah,
but you never know. There might be odd one or two people that actually want to hear what we've got to say as well, even if we haven't got an insanely talented and lovely person joining us. Maybe people might tune in and give us a listen.
You never know. I think that there are things we need to discuss, points that need to be raised. So we'll have a little delve into the world of entertainment and see what we can, mash up next week for everyone. That's what we'll do.
Mash up as opposed to mess up, which I think there's a very fine line when it comes.
There's a very fine line, my friend. I wouldn't go there.
Before we do go there, let's kill it. Ladies, gents,
Let's do it.
Everyone watching, listening, thank you so much for joining us as always. Drew and I shall be back next week to talk more industry nonsense. Until then, see you later. Have a good one.
Yep. Take care, folks. See you later.
Oh, and don't worry, we haven't forgotten. We are now going to play you a small section of Freddie's fabulous composed works.
So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy by Mr. Fredrick Brander's The Bonhoeffer Cantata. This was recorded for Radio 4's Sunday Worship.
Von guten Nächten wunderbar geborgen, erwarten wir getrost, was kommen mag. Gott ist mit uns am Abend und am Morgen und ganz gewiss an jedem neuen Tag. Und ganz gewiss an jedem neuen Tag.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.